Okay, so look at this, everybody. Where I am right now, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing on location. We're in Seattle. We're leaving port. We're here with Prophecy Watchers. And as we woke up to the news on Monday, listen, we have this great, what appears to be an economic collapse. It's not just happening in the U.S., it's also happening throughout the world. But I have some things I want to share about that because I want to encourage you to hold on. I want to explain some things from my perspective, which will be biblical. But I also look at all of these other things that are going on. There's another threat of another pandemic we haven't been talking about in a while, monkeypox. We have all the issues that are going on with Israel, and you got to wonder if all of these different things are related to the upcoming election, because we know that the powers that be don't want to lose their power. And regardless of what you think of Trump, we have the issue of he is a threat to the globalist agenda and Agenda 2030. Okay, that being said, let's work through this for just a minute. So we wake up, stocks tumble around the world. All right, we woke up to that on Monday. We know that China's got serious problems. We see what's happening here in the U.S. I'm here speaking about the nation of Israel over the next several days while I'm here with Prophecy Watchers. Okay, so given that, as we work through this and we think of the economic collapse that the Bible does tell us about, Revelation chapter 6. Listen, the one that the Bible talks about is with the rider on the black horse. And with that, it is global, it is huge, it's greater than any economic collapse in the history of the world. I personally don't believe we are at that one yet. I don't believe we're in the tribulation. I don't believe we've gotten to the place of the four horsemen yet. So when I see this taking place, I look at it and think, okay, something is probably going to, maybe like 2008 or something like that, where it's going to be big, but it's not going to be that big yet. It could be devastating. I think a lot of people will be devastated by it. However, it's still not the Revelation chapter 6 with the rider on the black horse collapse yet. So I'm waiting to see. I'm very interested to see how all of this goes. All right, so we're watching that. I'll keep you updated on this. And I would expect to have more of a free fall, but we're going to have some bounces back. So we'll play it out over the next few weeks and the next few months also to see how bad it really does get. As I mentioned, I'll keep you updated. Brit Gillette has great things on it. Okay, when we look at the next thing, what do we have? We have this, different things going on. Travelers are told to leave Lebanon. Tehran warns pilots to avoid airspace. We have that happening. And of course, as we've talked about over the last few days, Israel braces for Iranian attack that could come within hours. And we've all been reading about this, so we know this is the threat. I believe it's a very real threat. As I said in my podcast, my news update on Monday, that there's believed to be, and I think it's very credible actually from my sources, a significant number of Tehranian operatives that are in the U.S. within the boundaries of the U.S. And so you look at this, and the threat is to go after certain people, to do terrorist attacks. These are things that are very real. They're not just made up or something like that. But in Israel, the threat is we're going to come within hours. My friend Roddy and others have been texting me from Israel saying, hey, we're waiting for this to happen. When is it going to happen? As I mentioned also yesterday, the threat is on the 9th of Av, which would be this year would be August 12th or August 13th. I went into what the 9th of Av was yesterday. You can check that out if you want to. Now, all that, listen to this. Putin's top defense officials are in Tehran and they count down to 0 hour. This is from Stefan over in Australia. Thank you for sending me this article. On Monday, as the Middle East approaches 0 hour of Iran's expected major retaliation attack on Israel, there's a Russian defense delegation in Tehran and a U.S. defense delegation in Tel Aviv. How is that for symmetry among enemies? Russia has strongly condemned the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran last Wednesday. Iran considered the brazen act as tantamount to assassinating an official head of state while on an official visit. President Pezeshkian has meanwhile hailed Moscow as a valued strategic ally, as there has of late been much speculation that President Putin is ready to give greater support to America's rivals and enemies in the Middle East as a payback for Washington's support to Ukraine. So we have this going on with the threat now with Russia and Iran. Then we have the World Health Organization, the WHO chief moles, get this, I mean, everything just keeps adding on top of everything else that's already here. WHO chief Moles calling emergency meeting on monkeypox. I'm not making this up. The World Health Organization's chief said on Sunday that he was considering convening an expert committee to advise on whether the growing monkeypox outbreak in Africa should be declared an international emergency. So we're watching all of these different dynamics. All of these things coming together. Again, we have the election coming up. We just had the recent attempt on assassination of Trump, but there's more. Australia raises terror level threat to probable from possible. Now listen to this. Australia on Monday, this would be yesterday, raised its terror threat to probable from possible, citing an increase in extremist views in the country, leading to a more than 50% chance of planning an onshore attack in the next 12 months. So extremist views is what they're saying. We're hearing this all over. And then if you've been following what's going on over in Britain, it's the far right, it's the extremist views. We're having these major problems because of people who are pushing back against the leftist government, against the global things that are taking place. So we're watching all of these different dynamics taking place right now. Of course, we know for example, when it comes to the Olivet Discourse, Matthew chapter 24, Jesus said that lawlessness will abound and the love of many will grow cold. So we have a time of lawlessness at a time when we also know there's going to be this great global control in the Antichrist system that's coming. How could the Bible have known both of these things would be developing at the same time? Well, it's God who told us this. So listen, remember what 2 Timothy chapter 3 tells us. In the last days, evil men will wax worse and worse. I believe it's verse 12. And then verse 13, Paul writes, but you remember the Holy Scriptures. Remember where you're founded in your faith. So when you see all of these things begin to happen, remember the Holy Scriptures. They told you about these things. And listen, I will be back here tomorrow with another update on location. I believe we're going to be in Sitka, Alaska tomorrow. God bless you guys.